Well, good afternoon and welcome to the Idahoan Show. Today I want to talk a little bit about muzzleloader safety, and specifically muzzleloaders and eye protection. I do a lot of shooting both with modern firearms and with muzzleloaders, and more often than not, when you see someone wearing safety glasses at the shooting range, it has nothing to do with protecting their eyes from any physical hazard. It's all about making a political statement that they are a safety-conscious individual. And personally, I kind of have a problem with the politicization of safety. Sometime maybe I'll make a video about my general philosophy on gun safety and why I'm concerned by some of the trends in how we teach gun safety these days. But there are cases where wearing safety glasses while shooting is genuinely warranted to protect you from a physical hazard. And one of them is when shooting any kind of a muzzleloader that has a vented breech. So something like a flintlock, a matchlock, or a percussion cap fired weapon that has that flash hole going into the chamber, and so you get potentially a jet of, combustion gases and, fouling and other debris getting blown, usually off to the side, but in some cases also back in your face, as I found out a few days ago. Specifically, I was shooting a percussion cap fired musket. If you're familiar with a percussion cap, basically it's a little cup made of copper foil with some priming compound in the bottom, and so you put that over this nipple that has a hole in the middle going down into the chamber, and then when the hammer hits that cap, it sets off the priming compound, sends a flame down into the chamber through that hole, and the gun goes off. Well, in this case, what we think happened is that when the hammer hit the cap, it bounced back a little bit, and so it exposed more of that nipple than would usually be exposed. Whatever the case, when I fired the gun, I got fragments of the percussion cap and possibly other fouling and debris flying back in my face. And a little piece of copper foil from that percussion cap, maybe, I don't know, 1/16 of an inch square or so, actually went through my eyelid, punched a hole in my eyelid, stopped at the interface between my eyelid and my eyeball. Thankfully it didn't go into my eyeball, but it bruised it a little bit. My eye was bloodshot for a few days there. And thankfully everything healed up in a few days. It didn't end up being as serious of an injury as it maybe could have been. But it was a little bit of a close call, and so it really called my attention to the fact that when shooting these vented breech muzzleloaders, whether it's a percussion cap musket like I was using, or I think a very similar principle would apply to a flintlock. This is one case where it really is important to protect your eyes from that breech blast. And this is kind of an interesting case because the use of these firearms predates the invention of safety glasses by anywhere from half a century to several centuries, depending on what particular firearm you're looking at. And so wearing safety glasses while shooting these muzzleloaders, it's not historically correct. It's not correct for the period. And I'm not really sure what all people of those times did to protect their eyes when they were shooting. Some of them probably just developed such a bad flinch that their eyes were kind of protected by default, even though they couldn't hit anything. Some of them may have trained themselves to sort of look away as they were squeezing the trigger and still maintain a bead on their target without having a sight picture. I'm sure that would be challenging to do, but it'd probably be doable, at least to a certain extent. And maybe there were other things that were done as well. But anyway, just wanted to make this video as a quick lessons learned, sort of a courtesy to the rest of the muzzleloading community. So until next time, thanks for watching the Idahoan Show.